to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Fruit Loop, what you know?
Well, I'm caught off guard here, and I don't have my phone open.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Go ahead and do your thank yous and all.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So first, we want to give big thank you to Debbie and Lori for their donations. We really appreciate your generosity. And a big thank you to Diane. She reached out to me in our inbox and said that she has some Elvis merchandise that she wants me to have. One's like a replica of Graceland, and then two Elvis figures that are still in the box that are mint condition. So it just blows me away that like she thought of me. So thank you very much, Diane, for that. And here's what's crazy. I met one of our listeners on the beach a couple of days ago. Her name is Allison, and she is amazing. We literally had like the funnest 30-minute conversation standing there, letting the water hit our feet. Just really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, very
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, I got to what you know.
What you know, Fruit Loop?
Okay, did you know that dolphins sleep with one eye open?
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it says they're one of the smartest animals on the planet, possibly because they can conserve their brain power. They have to constantly be on the lookout for predators, so they have developed a neat trick of maintaining partial consciousness even as part of their brain sleeps.
That's really cool. I think you do that as a mom too.
They don't know about that.
Yeah, no, you don't fully sleep when you have little ones. So I have to tell you a really funny story about my dad. All right, so I've been at the beach for a few days with my son stayed back and did stuff with his friends but my daughters and one of my daughter's friends came and it was so needed. Like after the couple of months we've had, it was just very chill, totally like restored my soul. But okay, so our house is right at the ocean, right? You know, it's ocean, pretty much oceanfront. So every night between 11:30 and 12, there is a Facebook group for teenagers and they coordinate this gathering on the beach.
But it's always right there at that entrance right there.
Right at our house.
Yeah.
And I mean, there'll be 100 kids out there and they're just having a good time. Like they turn on music and they're chanting and they're dancing and they're like swaying. My dad runs out and gets in the middle of them.
Oh, law.
Yeah. Okay. So like these guys have their arms around my dad and they're like swaying and chanting and stuff. And then the police come and break it up. So yeah, like every night the police come after 5 or 10 minutes because they are loud and it's so late and people are oceanfront trying to sleep. But like my dad's 69 years old and they just thought it was the coolest thing that he was out there with them. So they just brought him in as one of their own and it was hilarious. I could see you getting arrested on the beach, like with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways, nice vacation. So we wanted to hop on before the weekend. We have another Wagner replay coming back. Good job on that, by the way, this week, Fruit Loop. Like you've rocked it.
We actually got one today and one tomorrow. So
yeah, it's a great case. Trial's coming up soon. We're gonna do an update episode on Monday to bring you guys current. Since we've done all this, then we'll hit back into our Valo Daybell mega series, but we do have some updates on Caitlyn Armstrong we haven't got to. So why don't you start out, Fruit Loop? We'll just do a little recap. We have a prior episode where we dove into the arrest affidavit, but this is just a little summary.
So Kaitlyn is charged in the murder of pro cyclist Mo Wilson on May 11th. Just to recap, she was questioned on May 12th by Austin police about the murder. Investigators actually had a warrant for her arrest on an unrelated charge of skipping out on a Botox bill back in 2018. There was confusion about her date of birth on the warrant, and authorities mistakenly let her go, saying the warrant was invalid when it wasn't. Remember, on May 13th, she sold her Jeep Grand Cherokee for $12,200 at a CarMax, was given a check. And of course, that was the same Jeep that was seen on surveillance arriving in front of the residence where Mo was staying around the time of the murder. Then on May 14th, she's seen on airport surveillance flying from Austin, Texas to Houston, Hobby, and then on to LaGuardia in New York City. She had visited her sister before fleeing the country and her sister was at a campsite in upstate New York. She actually worked there, I think, from what I read. This was before the news of the murder had hit mainstream media. May 17th, an arrest warrant was issued. May 18th, she was dropped off at Newark Airport in New Jersey, but her name was not found on any outgoing flights. She flew to Costa Rica. She then took a long bus ride from San Jose Airport. She traveled to,
I think it's
I don't even know,
Jaco
Jaco, well, if we say it in our
or
other
Jocko.
Jaco Beach, and Santa Teresa. She
Mhm.
used the aliases Beth Martin, Liz Martin, and Ari Martin.
Yeah, so May 20th is when the US Marshals got involved in the search for Kaitlyn. So on June 29th, Kaitlyn was detained on fraudulent passport immigration charges by Costa Rican authorities. And what had happened was she had given them a fake name and that wasn't found on their immigration manifesto that they keep. So eventually she told them her real name, and that led to them finding out she had a warrant for an international arrest warrant. And she told Costa Rican officials she did not have a key to the lockbox where she had her belongings at this hostel. And she was sporting a bandage on her nose with the bruised eyes. And she told authorities she had been in a surfing accident. So the owner of the hostel was located by reporters from Inside Edition. And he opened that lockbox, which had a $6,350 cosmetic surgery receipt. And that's now part of evidence. It says that she paid for that in cash, and the deputy marshal said at the press conference it did not have her name on it, so it couldn't be confirmed at that time. But I mean, look, if you look at her if you look at her before and after pictures, I think she had her chin shaved. I think she had something done to her eyes, maybe some fillers, definitely her nose. And also inside of that lockbox was her passport as well as her sister's. And we know she had cut and dyed her hair as well to alter her appearance.
Yeah,
And I mean, just look at the lengths she went to. I mean, in her mind, she thinks she's just going to live there forever and teach yoga.
yeah, and I know some people are saying she don't have any makeup, all that stuff, and she didn't. I mean, she didn't have any makeup, and she's not smiling in the picture, but yeah, it looked altered.
Yeah, I've seen, cosmetic surgeons talk about this case online and say, "Oh yeah, here's what she
Yeah.
had done."
Well, here's my question: if you're flying into somewhere and you have to have a passport, it would probably make sense for it to match what your passport says.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just saying.
It's true. I mean,
I
if you
mean,
look at there's a picture side by side of her sister's passport and hers, and they look similar, but with whatever she's had done to me, she looks more like her sister now. So,
yeah,
she was actually arrested at the hostel. It's called Don John's Surf Shop and Yoga Lodge. She was staying there to stretch her money, which is what a lot of young solo travelers do. It can be like 20 bucks a night to stay. And she had stayed at other hostels and also had visited yoga studios, hoping to eventually teach yoga there, according to that news conference. And investigators say they just used old fashioned police work, following paper trails of receipts. And they also have footage of her at a yoga studio, and all that just led to her being found. So, when asked about her sister's passport potentially being used, the U.S. Marshals said that that's an active investigation right now. That, in other words, our charge is going to come for her sister. It says we have forwarded that information to the United States Attorney's Office in Austin and also in New Jersey.
I mean, if it comes down to it and she helped her escape, yes, she should face charges.
Yeah, I want to know who dropped her off at the airport in
Yeah,
Newark. I mean, she could have took a Uber, taxi, anything like that,
yeah.
but I don't know. I think we may see more charges of people helping her. What about extradition, Fruit Loop?
So she was extradited back to the U.S., arriving in Austin, Texas this past Sunday. She was booked on murder charges for Mo and also the Botox bill she skipped out on in 2018. She also faces a federal charge for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, and they set a whopping bond at 3.5 million.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna set that because then you would have to have 10%, which is 350,000. But not only that, we learned with Lori, you have to prove that you have $3.5 million in assets should she flee the country again. So she's staying put. And
Yeah,
then
and that's the big thing is she's already run once. What's gonna keep her from running again?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm surprised they even gave her bond. I
ain't
mean,
nobody gonna touch that.
for murder, they've already said the casings at the scene match one of the guns from her home. So anyways, so just a quick update on Dylan Rounds. The Box Elder County Sheriff issued a statement yesterday on the case saying that during the course of this investigation, multiple persons have been interviewed by the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and other assisting agencies. Multiple arrests have been made for unrelated warrants and crimes that have been discovered during this process. So it says when Dylan Rounds was not located early on in the search effort, the investigation focused on the possibility of Dylan being the victim of a crime. The current totality of information gathered from the many interviews and searches, along with the analysis of both physical evidence and forensic data, has identified James Brenner as a suspect. Brenner is currently being held at the Weber County Jail on unrelated federal firearm charges. No criminal charges have been filed specifically regarding the Dylan Rounds case. The investigation remains active, but he was the guy that was squatting on the land that was next to Dylan's. So you kind of knew when they named Dylan Rounds in that indictment for these weapons charges. We have a backstory on it. He had taken some of those weapons to a friend's house and said the last time he had a run in with the law, they took everything. So I think they're close. They've also asked people not to search on their own at this point. So I think they have a direction they're moving in,
Sure.
and good for the family to get some closure. It doesn't look like it's going to be a case of they find him alive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Very sad case all the way around. I mean, my big thing is now that Kaitlyn is in custody, let's focus on Mo, the victim. you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So, anyways, those are our little updates for the weekend. Like I say, we'll be releasing today and tomorrow, finishing up these rebroadcasts of the Wagner case, which you guys seem to like, and it's a good
Yeah.
refresher that trial's next month.
Yep.
We're going to cover that one in full. I am ready for this trial. We both have said since the beginning, we want to know how they did it.
Yep. It's a
Yep.
bunch of stuff.
Yep, you got 2 family members. Jake and Angela have pled guilty and are gonna testify for the prosecution, so we're gonna know it all. Well, guys, you have a nice weekend. We will be back, Monday to finish up current stuff on Wagner, and unless anything crazy happens the rest of the week, we'll dive back into the Vallow Daybell mega series. All right, have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.